In the middle of the Great Depression, gold went up 75%. It went up from $20 an ounce to $35 an ounce. And gold was your best performing asset. Homestake mining was the best performing asset on the New York Stock Exchange in the middle of the Great Depression. And we had two technical recessions in the Great Depression. If you say Great Depression, 1929 to 1940, I think that's generally accepted. We had two recessions, 1929 to 1933. And then again, 1937 and 1938. But the period from 1933 to 1936 was a period of high growth. 1933 was one of the best years in the history of the stock market, but that's because FDR devalued the dollar and the gold went up 75% from $20 an ounce to $35 an ounce. So you can have inflation and you can have growth in the middle of a depression, but you do it by raising the price of gold. Bitcoin is basically garbage. If you want to buy it, knock yourself out, but it's junk. Now you can say, well, why is it going up? Well, it's like any other bubble. I mean, just look at the chart. It looks like every other bubble. It looks like the Nikkei in 1989. It looks like the NASDAQ in 1999. It just says bubble dynamics. But what people don't understand is the extent of the fraud in the Bitcoin price. A couple of things. First of all, Bitcoin's trivial relative to gold. There's about $1 trillion of market cap in Bitcoin versus $24 trillion of market cap in gold. So that's not counting gold miners and paper gold and other forms of gold, et cetera. So it's the market's tiny. But here's what's driving Bitcoin. There's something called Tether. Tether was just basically there was a settlement yesterday with the New York State Attorney General where Tether admitted fraud, paid a fine. But here's what's going on with Tether. So Tether says they call themselves a stable coin, meaning you give them $1, they give you a tether, and they say one tether equals $1. Okay, so so you get your tether. Why do people want the tether? Well, they're using it in exchanges, not some of the couple of the more reputable exchanges, which do not accept Tether, by the way, but there are all kinds of exchanges around the world that don't have any money laundering rules, don't have know your customer rules, are not regulated, et cetera. And people are using the Tether to go buy Bitcoin. Sometimes they offer leverage, et cetera, and they're bidding up the price of Bitcoin. Now, just to kind of take that in reverse. So what happens when people want to sell the Bitcoin for Tether and then cash in the Tether for the dollars? Where are the dollars? There's no evidence that they have the dollars. In fact, they don't. They just kind of print Tether as it goes along. This is the greatest Ponzi in history. It makes Bernie Madoff look like a prudent banker. People are too naive to understand what's going on. But the point is, it's not worth anything. I tried buying a cup of coffee with Bitcoin. You can't do it. And there used to be one coffee shop in Brooklyn they always pointed to. They said, you can go buy coffee there, but I think it's boarded up now. So you can't spend it. It's an open-ended speculation. If you like it, go for it, be my guest. But it's a fantastic Ponzi scheme being driven by the fraud in Tether. And if you want to buy Bitcoin, do your homework and study what's going on in Tether. Look at where the Bitcoin purchases come from. They come from Tether. They don't come from hard dollars. And Tether says they take the hard dollars and they back it up, but they've never shown their bank account. They claim to have more dollars and their bank is in the Bahamas, but the number they claim, which has never been audited and never been visible, is greater than the combined dollar banking assets of the total Bahamian banking system by a factor of 10. So you tell me where the dollars are. They're long gone. They're being skimmed off by the billions, and these people are going to be left hung out to dry. So as we say in New Jersey, enjoy. Yeah, I mean, blockchain technology has been around since the 1980s. It's kind of boring, but it has nothing to do with so-called cryptocurrencies.
Before we continue, help us by smashing that YouTube like button and subscribe now to this channel. This shows the algorithm that you value the information, and it helps us spread this message. Sharing is caring. Please like and subscribe now. Thank you. And now let's continue.
By the way, this idea, I hear it a lot, Bitcoin will replace the dollars, the global reserve asset, all this stuff. It's nonsense. What people don't understand is that currencies are not global reserve assets. The assets are securities denominated in a currency. So you go to China, they have $1.4 trillion in treasury notes and bills. And they do. But they don't have, pallets of dollars, printed dollars stacked up in the basement of the People's Bank of China. They have securities, which, by the way, are in digital form. The original cryptocurrency is the US dollar. It hasn't been issued, treasury securities haven't been issued in paper form since 1980. So it's a completely digital ledger. The message traffic is encrypted. So your dollar is your best cryptocurrency. But the reason that Bitcoin will never be a reserve asset, it's not because there's no form of money there. I guess you can say Bitcoin's a form of money. It's because there's no bond market. There's no Bitcoin bond market. There are no securities to invest in, and there never will be. And here's why. Because the reason people say it's an inflation hedge is because the amount of Bitcoin is capped, which shows that really good applied mathematicians and developers don't understand anything about monetary economics, because your economy keeps growing. Now, the complaint about central banks is that they grow the money faster than the economy, and that's a legitimate complaint. But you at least have to grow the money supply to keep pace with the economy. If you don't, then each unit of money, and Bitcoin's capped at, I think, 21 million coins. We're getting there. We're never going to get to 21 million because you need more electric power than the sun to mine the last Bitcoin. So you're going to run out of new Bitcoin sooner than later. But if the amount of currency is fixed and the economy keeps going up, each unit of currency buys more and more goods. And that's why they think that the value is going to go up, and it has so far. That's deflationary. When the value of money goes up, that's deflationary. Why would you borrow money in a deflationary currency? You would owe more than you borrowed. Borrowers love inflationary currencies because they get to pay back less. Now, in a perfect world, there'd be no inflation or deflation, but you're never going to have a Bitcoin bond market because you're never going to have a borrower dumb enough to borrow in a currency that only goes up. And if you don't have the securities market, you're not going to have a reserve currency. So again, it's gambling. I prefer roulette because you get a nice drink and you can enjoy the ambiance, but it's kind of a joke. Well, actually, gold never wins or loses because it's an element, it's atomic number 79. It is what it is. If you have a gold coin and you put it in a drawer and you go away for a year and you come back and open the drawer, you got one gold coin. It didn't multiply itself. So what happens is the dollar price of gold goes up or it goes down. You got different forecasts. But when that happens, nothing happens to gold. It tells you something about the dollar. It's kind of like when you have a patient, the first thing a diagnostician or a doctor does is you take the patient's temperature, and you stick a thermometer in your mouth. Now you just kind of scan your forehead or whatever, but you take the patient's temperature to see if they're sick. And the dollar price of gold is the temperature of the dollar. So when the dollar price of gold goes up, all that's really nothing's happening to gold. It's just the dollar's getting weaker. When the dollar price of gold goes down, nothing's happening to gold. It's just that the dollar is getting stronger. So fluctuation in the dollar price of gold really tells you more about the dollar than it does about gold. And so if you say to me, is gold going to win? Yeah, gold's going to win a lot. But what it really means is the dollar is going to collapse. So $10,000 gold, that is my forecast. I think it actually will be higher, but I'm comfortable saying $10,000 gold or higher. That's my forecast. That's not a big win if you're a gold holder, because what really happened was the value of the dollar collapsed. But the reason to have gold is because it protects all of your other assets. In the world of $10,000 gold is the world where everything else has crashed. And so the gold will preserve your wealth.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.